Good morning, everybody. My name is Neil Wagner, and I'm with the Queen's Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to welcome you all to the very first in our new virtual series of the QCIC Student Series, where the Queen's Chamber connects college students across Queens with the incredible businesses and subject matter experts that we get to work with every day here in Queens. Today, we'll be focusing on marketing, and we're excited to be joined by the chair of the Queen's Chamber's Communications Committee and the Chief Marketing Officer of Blue Ox Marketing in Long Island City, Cody Fisher. Cody, how are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. So just a little bit of background on how this is going to work. Cody and I are just going to be talking for about 20 minutes about how we got started in marketing, the current landscape of the industry, and his advice for college students that might want to get into that particular industry. And then after that, the last 15 minutes, that's all about you guys. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box or in the Q&A. And then my colleague Queena will get those asked at the end. So Cody, you ready to rock?
Let's do it.
Thank you so much. Cody, can you tell us a little bit about your work at Blue Ox and how you got started in marketing?
Absolutely, yeah. So I've been in the marketing industry for a while now, and one of the things that I've seen is that most companies waste a lot of money on marketing every year, and it's weird for me to say that because I'm in the marketing industry, but that's the truth. Most companies waste thousands of dollars on marketing every year, and that's because they struggle to talk about what they do. And so when it comes to marketing and pushing that out there, they end up trying to market a message that's broken. And so it doesn't end up working for them. So at Blue Ox Marketing, we use the communication framework to help clarify the message that companies are saying so that we could help them clarify what it is that they do, why it matters, and why people should buy into what they're doing. Once we clarify their message, we help them implement that on all of their different marketing platforms. And so that's what we've been doing for a few years now. How I got my start was back in 2007, I co-founded an organization that went on to be pretty successful. And we learned a lot through those early stages of forming that company. And along the way, just kind of naturally, a lot of companies would reach out and just say, hey, Cody, can you walk us through this from a marketing perspective? Can you help us navigate these early stages as a company? We're trying to reach this certain demographic, or we're trying to communicate our message. How do we best do that? And so that just kind of naturally led into a lot of consulting, a lot of working with other companies. And that's what I love to do. I love coaching. I love developing people, but also organizations from a messaging standpoint and brand standpoint. And so that's what led to the creation of Blue Ox Marketing. And that's what I'm doing based here out of Long Island City.
That's awesome. So how long has Blue Ox Marketing been open for now?
Officially, it's been about 4 years now.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm curious, since you started working in marketing, how much has the landscape changed and what's the current landscape of marketing right now?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. In some ways, everything has changed, and in some ways, very few things have changed. I mean, the tactics and tools of marketing are always changing in terms of kind of where things are headed. Everything's moving toward being automated, and there's artificial intelligence that's playing a huge role in the industry right now. So there's a lot that is moving under your feet as you're in this industry on a day-to-day basis. At the same time, when you kind of step back and look at the big picture, not much has changed in terms of, companies need marketing now more than ever, especially with COVID and how that's impacted not just the marketing industry, but every industry. No matter what you're in, you've probably had to adapt in some way. So marketing has had to shift along with that, but companies still need to grow their businesses. They still need to reach people, even though the circumstances have changed somewhat. And so when it comes down to kind of the core of marketing, which I think is just communication, relating to people, getting your message across, communicating clearly, that's still there. In fact, that's more relevant than ever.
Okay, that's awesome. So I know we have a lot of students on here today that are interested in potentially getting into marketing. What are some of the things that a student can do to get their foot in the door?
Yeah, I would say, I was having a conversation with a friend last night, and she is a executive recruiter for marketing, and so she's working with some of the top brands, top leading companies today, and she and I we were having this conversation. How have things shifted, not just these past few months, but these past few years? Like, how have things changed? And she brought up such a good point. She said, you know what matters now more than ever is experience. So, when it comes to getting your start out in marketing, I would just say get as much experience as you can. The traditional approach would be, okay, you got to go to school, study marketing, then you got to go get your master's. That's not really that relevant anymore, unless you want to work for a General Mills or a Target or something like that, to where that might come into play. But largely, she's like, I work with some of the biggest brands out there, and education, it never comes up. It's all about experience. So if you're trying to get your foot in the door, I would just say get experience, as much experience as you can. Learn how to build websites, learn some of the tools of the trade, volunteer your services, reach out to a local business owner that you know and just say, hey, can I do this for you? I'll do it for free, and I just want to gain experience. That's a great opportunity, is just to provide service and value to the people around you. And that's going to come back. That's going to come back and help you at some point in your career. So get as much experience as you can. Look for ways to serve the community around you. Those are usually the easiest opportunities to just start getting in some really good experience opportunities. Next thing would just be to grow your network. Just connect with as many people as you can. And that means more than just following somebody or being a friend on social media, or liking their stuff. Like, engage with them, ask them questions, learn from them. If you can, find a mentor, somebody who doesn't have to be somebody who's at the end of the career. Look for somebody who's just a few steps ahead of you, that you can connect with, that you can relate to, and just learn from them as they're continuing to grow. Another thing I would say is just to develop that growth mindset. Always be in a mode where you're constantly learning and absorbing everything around you. Again, back to my conversation last night, she was just saying, she's like, Cody, you wouldn't believe how many C-suite level marketers have lost their jobs these past few months due to COVID. And so they're out there looking for new opportunities, and they can't find anything. And the reason why they can't find anything isn't because there's a lack of opportunities per se. It's because that they stopped learning at a certain point in their career. They learned all the way up until they got that position, and then it just kind of shut off and they plateaued. And so when they're trying to jump back into the industry, it's really hard for them to catch up, because so much has changed since then. So, but if you're constantly learning, if you're constantly growing and developing and investing in yourself, you're going to be set.
Okay, that's some great advice. You mentioned learning how to build websites, and having that be a tool that it's important for students to have in their toolbox. What are some other tools that you'd recommend that students try to go out and learn?
Yeah, I would say understand communication. It's really important for you to understand how to communicate effectively. I'm not talking, speaking or in front of groups, all of that's important. That's something that, you should get experience in. I'm talking about just the frameworks and the basics of communicating and understanding what moves people, what influences people, what do people respond to? Why do they respond to that? I get contacted by companies every week, and they're like, Cody, we just dropped thousands and thousands of dollars on a new website, and it's done nothing for our business. Nobody's calling, nobody's doing anything. And I take a look at it for them, and more often than not, I'm like, well, it's because you hired a developer to build it, or you hired a designer. So developer, you go to school to develop, you could build really good websites, but if the website isn't using the words that compel people to act, it's not going to do anything for the business. Same with designer. You could hire a designer to build a beautiful website, and it'll be beautiful. It'll be great. They went to school to design, and they're probably really good at what they do. But again, when it comes to communicating and engaging with and reaching the people that you're trying to reach, a well-built website isn't going to do that for you. A well-designed website isn't going to do that for you. Those things are important, but you need to learn how to communicate. And so businesses are looking for that. They're getting that right now, and they're understanding, okay, we've wasted so much money on marketing that really hasn't done much to grow our business at all. In fact, it's gotten in our way. Let's go back to our communication. Let's go back to clarifying our message. And that's why, I spend most of my time in that wheelhouse. It's just helping people craft their messages and understand what they do and how to reach the people that they're trying to reach. Once you lock that in, the website, the development, the design, all of that will come into place, and that will help put your company forward. So, learn how to communicate, understand, how to reach consumers, whoever your clients might be trying to reach. If you can understand that, you're going to be miles ahead of most marketers out there today. And you're going to get results for the people, for the clients that you work with. And right now, results are more important than ever. If you can't justify the investment that they're placing in you, if you can't show and connect a line between what you're doing for them and results, you're going to struggle. And so understanding how to navigate that is going to be really valuable for you.
Okay. So aside from communication, how much is data coming into what you're working on day in and day out? Is that something that you guys, are using more than you did 5 years ago, or how's your relationship with data right now?
Yeah, no, I think it's always growing. It's always, as most of us know, data is something that we're being tracked, we're being, everything's just being measured, everything could be measured now. And it wasn't like that even just 5 years ago. So now it's everything can be measured for the most part, especially when it comes to online stuff, whether it's web traffic or ad performances or things like that. You could target audiences and be so specific, and you could track results and understand, okay, where are they, what are they clicking on? What are they responding to? And that should absolutely have an impact in how you adjust your marketing. So many of the campaigns that we help develop, or marketing collateral, it's not like we're etching these in stone and saying this is it. Everything that we develop, it's almost like they're living projects. So we're adapting them, we're crafting them, we're putting it out into the wild, and then we're tracking results, and so that we can understand, okay, what are people responding to? What are they not responding to? And then we go back to the drawing boards and adjust, marketing tactics, but also, from a communication standpoint as well. So yeah, that is hugely important when it comes to marketing and engaging people.
Okay. Awesome. And just a reminder to everybody out there, we do have the Q&A box and also the chat box. So if you have any questions for Cody, feel free to pop those in there, and Queen will get to those later. I'm wondering if students want to keep up to date with what's going on in the industry. Are there any periodicals or websites that you recommend that they read?
Yeah, I would say, definitely get on LinkedIn, get on social media. It doesn't mean you have to necessarily be social. If that's not you, I get it. But if you could get on LinkedIn and just start following people that are leaders in the industry, follow the content that they're creating. It's amazing the value that you get on social media platforms today when you follow the right people, and just the advice that they share. Whether it's just written or through video, or blogs they're writing, or articles where they're featured, or anything like that. Get on social media and just start following leaders in the industry. You could follow hashtags as well, and just keep up with things as they happen in real time. And through that, you'll come across maybe different publications, different websites that you like, that you could follow along and track with. But I would just say start there. Everybody has a phone. Just jump on your phone. Start following a few people, and just stay tuned and pay attention to what they're saying.
Okay. Is there a good follow or two that you'd recommend out there on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that?
Oh man, there's so many. Seth Godin is a big one. He's been in the marketing industry for a long time now. Simon Sinek is just another incredible one. Ryan Holiday. These are good. They're good communicators. So you're not just going to learn not so much the nuts and bolts of marketing as much as just understanding, again, how to shift communication and connect with people, and how to relate, how to be human in the way you market and reach humans, which is what all of this is about, how to influence people, things like that. So those are three that are top of mind.
Okay, awesome. And then is there anything about marketing that you wish a 20-year-old Cody would have known?
Yeah, I would say you look for a coach, look for a guide. It's not something I didn't have a coach until a little bit later on in my career, but man, as soon as you can, look for somebody that could really that could teach you something. Find somebody that you could maybe it's just personally you reach out to them every now and then. Hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Can we just connect? I'd love to pick your brain. Show up with good questions. Learn from them. Or get an actual coach. There are actual coaches out there who walk people through these frameworks and marketing and all of that, and can help coach you along your career. Or join a mastermind where you could be a part of a group of like-minded people who might be tracking right along with you in the same stage of the career as you are. But you'll build a strong contact with them, stay connected with them as peers, but also just learn from them as they're doing stuff and progressing along their career. It's just so important. So look for a guide, look for a coach, look for a mastermind to be a part of. And all of that's, investing in yourself. And I mentioned education earlier and how, master's degrees just don't carry the weight like they used to anymore. That does not mean don't invest in yourself. You've got to invest in yourself. So, get the training, get the education, but also invest in getting the coaches and peers that could really help sharpen you in your skills.
Okay, great. Is there a good place that you'd recommend that students go and look for a coach?
That's a good question. I don't know. I wish I had a platform or something like that to direct you to. But feel free to. I guess we could put my contact information down below, maybe. But would love to engage with people one-on-one, or just put a message. If this is I know it's on Facebook Live, but reach out and we'll follow up. And I'd love to connect with you one-on-one and figure out how to connect you with the right guide.
Okay, that's awesome, and thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. Queena, do we have any questions for Cody?
Yes. So someone was interested in whether or not there's an unspoken age limit on internships, because they were curious about whether or not someone who was in their mid to late 30s or mid to late 20s or early 30s would be accepted into an internship.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm not aware of any limits, honestly. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that being an issue. So if you're at the stage of your career and then life where you could step into an internship, I've never come across a company that would turn you down just because you're in your early 30s.
Awesome. Queena, do you have any other questions for Cody?
Yes. So I was interested in what an entry-level position in marketing is like.
Yeah, it all depends on where you're trying to enter and what type of, not just the industry, but what type of organization. Entry level can mean different things for different groups. So I would say, when it comes to small, mid-sized companies right now, the entry level might be helping them out with social media, stepping in and helping create content for them. And so that would be that's probably kind of where your typical entry point is right now for a lot of companies, is helping them create content, but also manage different social media platforms. And when it comes to getting your foot in the door into some of these positions, I would say this is where communication and being able to write and all of that just is so important. But understanding how to create content that helps, that fits into their business model of the company that you're wanting to work for, or maybe that you're currently with. So if you can master creating content that helps propel them forward as a company, as opposed to just creating content that's just click publish and it goes out there, and yes, you created something and published something, but it doesn't really do much to actually draw in a new audience or to grow the company. Companies are really looking for content that can move them forward and that fits into their business model. So as you look at those entry positions, look at content, practice, just hone that craft of generating content for companies, for different industries, and that's going to make you really valuable in some of those entry positions.
That's great advice. Queena, any other questions?
Yes, thank you. So I was just also wondering what kind of growth a student can expect, and how has your personal day-to-day changed as you move up the ranks?
Yeah, what growth to expect? That's a good question. There's certainly there's so much room to grow, all the way from where you might enter the industry and where you want to get to. There's a lot of movement taking place, and a lot of people are being are given a lot of responsibility right now and moving on up. In terms of what kind of, I don't know, I couldn't offer you a timeline or anything like that, because I think that there's so many different variables in that. But I would say if you're looking for a career that has some movement to it, I would say marketing would be one. As long as you just can continue to show your worth, as anybody's job. You want to show your worth. You want to show the company, show your boss, the team that you're working with, that their investment in you is getting them a return on the money that they've invested in you. So if you can learn to communicate well and just, again, like I said, hone your craft, you're really going to show your value. That's going to go a long way in moving you on up. There was a second part of that question, and I'm blanking on it.
It was, how much has your day-to-day changed since you started to your new role as the CMO?
Yeah. So I always try to keep a hand in the and actually like kind of the nuts and bolts of what we do. So when it comes to writing content, helping craft messages, I want to always have a hand in that. And then that doesn't come from a, wanting to micromanage things or anything like that, but it helps keep me sharp in my role as CMO, to always be on the front lines of, actually developing the marketing for companies. I don't want to get removed from it to where I'm, standing away from it, or just not showing up in the office anymore, and I'm, just directing the team and like that, because I'm going to lose touch with what's going on in the industry. I'm going to lose touch with, what different industries are up against, what problems they need to solve, and that's going to influence my leadership capabilities as well. So when I'm always aware and have my hands in actually generating content and on the front lines of what we do, that kind of keeps me sharp. So in terms of day to day, I'm always working directly with clients. And so that means doing a lot of writing, a lot of brainstorming and vision boarding and all of this stuff to help move companies forward. But then I also spend a lot of time working on the high level stuff. So working with the leaders of companies, helping them clarify their messaging. So pre-COVID, that would mean I would show up on site and work with the leadership team and helping clarify their message, help lay out a marketing playbook for them to follow, and then following that would be actually creating the content for that. So it's just a mixture of high level stuff that I really enjoy doing, but also me really wanting to stay connected to actually being on the ground, creating the content, crafting language, testing different things and stuff like that.
Sounds like your days are pretty action-packed. All right, I think that's all that we have for the questions. Cody, is there anything else that you want to...
Oh, there's actually one more.
Oh, perfect. All right, Queena.
Yes,
Fire
so
away.
one of the attendees asked if they need any experience if they find something that they like.
I think
What kind of experience?
Yeah, like if you're starting an internship and they are saying you need experience before you get the internship, where could they get some experience, kind of on their own? I know you mentioned some tools that they can have, like the website building and things like that. Is there anything else you can think of?
Yeah, like I said, if you can look around you and maybe some business owners, or maybe you could just reach out to a local business, not a huge company or anything like that, but just a small business, just reach out to them I guarantee you they will probably not turn you away if you say, hey, can I help you with some of your marketing? Can I help just write content for your company? Can I help maybe manage some of your social media platforms, or just help you stay active online? Most business leaders, they don't, they're just not able to give that the attention that it deserves, or they're just not good at it. They're really good at building a company and kind of and running different aspects of it, which is great, but they didn't sign up to do the marketing for the company. That's not what they went to school to do. That's not what they love. That's not what they wake up every morning wanting to do. So most of the time when it comes to the marketing, they're like, it's just not something they want to spend time on. And so if you just reach out to them, build a relationship with them, and just offer to do some pro bono work, that's a great way to get some experience. It gives you the arena you need to try new things, to fail, learn from your failures, and do things really well. And you're going to help that business one way or the other. And there you have your first client, and get a strong testimonial from them, and just say, reach out to them down the road and say, hey, I'm trying to get this internship. I know that I was able to work with you recently, and I know it generated a lot of value for what you do. I was hoping if you could help write a recommendation or something like that. But that's the easiest way to get your foot in the door, is just getting some real on the ground experience, and also supporting a business or a nonprofit, or a group that really needs your help.
That's some really great advice. Thank you for sharing that. Cody, is there anything else that you want to share with the attendees today, or any other advice you have for the students?
That's all I have, Neil. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. But yeah, would love to stay connected with whoever might be watching this. So yeah, send us a message, and would love to stay connected with you, connect with you one-on-one, figure out how I could help support you and push you along to get where you want to go.
Okay, awesome. Well, Cody, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, this was the first in our new QCIC series for students, trying to connect the great students we have here in Queens County with the awesome businesses and experts like Cody that we get to work with every day at the Chamber. We have 2 more scheduled in the next couple of weeks. On September 29th, we have a webinar on banking with our friends from JP Morgan Chase. And then Margaret Ling from our Banking and Law Committee will be hosting one on October 7th in regards to law. So thank you everybody for joining us. Cody, thanks again for being with us. You gave some awesome advice to everybody. And yeah, everybody have a great day.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, everybody.